from Alaska.
Mr. President.
Senator from Texas.
Mr. President, unless something significant changes 35 hours from now, the federal government will shut down. At 12:01 a.m. on Sunday, the paychecks will stop for every soldier, every sailor, every airman, every Marine, every member of the Space Force, and every Coast Guardsman. That's not right. Mm-hmm. And the good news is we can prevent it. We can prevent it right now. The bill that Senator Sullivan and I are trying to pass says at 12:01 a.m., our active duty military will be paid. That if Washington's dysfunctional, if politicians will bicker throughout the night, that's not their fault. And we're not going to hold them hostage to the partisan demands of politicians. You know, right now at home, there are people watching this debate on C-SPAN. And they may be wondering, when did the Senate get this dysfunction? Did this institution ever operate? And you know, Senator Sullivan pointed out to a time where it at least operated a little better than it does now. 2013, this identical legislation was before the Senate. There was a Democrat majority. Harry Reid was the majority leader. And this identical legislation passed 100 to nothing. And it passed unanimously in the House. In 2013, Senate Democrats realized, fine, we'll have a fight, but we're not holding our active duty military hostage. Mr. President, in 2013, Senator Durbin, who is sitting on the floor, voted yes to fund our military.
Hey, y'all, come look at this.
In 2013, Senator Whitehouse, who's sitting on the floor, voted yes to fund our military. In 2013, Senator Murray, who I believe is getting ready to stand up and block this bill, in 2013, she voted yes to fund our military.
No, it's not.
Have we really gone that far in a decade that Democrats now are perfectly happy to take away the paychecks from the young men and women who are risking their lives to keep us safe? Mr. President, you spent years in the active duty military. You're a proud Navy veteran. You know men and women that are serving right now in the active duty, and I feel quite confident you don't want to go home and look them in the eyes and say it was my party, the Democrat Party, that took your paycheck away.
Okay, you know what? My head just exploded. Listen.
Well, it doesn't have to happen. Everyone at home, I want you to listen to what's going to happen in a moment, because there are two magic words. If you hear two magic words from the senator from Washington, I object. If you hear those words, understand what will have happened. It's the same thing that happened just a couple of days ago, which is Democrat leadership said to our active duty military, we don't give a damn about you and we're going to cut off your paycheck.
Why?
Sunday at 12:01 a.m. That doesn't have to happen. And by the way, I will point out, not only is it the fault of every Democrat, and I'm sorry, Mr. President, it's the fault of every Democrat because there are no Democrats here supporting us.
That doesn't make sense.
You in your heart know we're right. So I'm going to invite you when we do this again, because we're going to keep doing it and keep doing it. I would invite you to come join us because you know this is the right thing to do. And there are more of your colleagues on the Democrat side that know this is the right thing to do.
Finally.
Some 19-year-old Marine right now in the DMZ facing North Korean machine guns is being told that the United States Senate doesn't care enough about his or her service to pay them. That's just wrong. It's stupid. And this body used to know enough to say, hey, we got political disagreements here, but we support our troops. I guarantee you every Democrat senator in this chamber goes home and tells your constituents, I support the troops. You know what? Talk's cheap. If you support the troops, stand up next to us and say, let's pay the troops. And by the way, if you support the troops, go to your leadership and say, stop this garbage. Was Harry Reid a right-wing kook? Because Harry Reid signed off on paying the troops. And I'll tell you why today's Democrat leadership believe they can get away with it. Because in 2013, we had something of a functioning media. They actually reported on what was happening. If you look up in the gallery, there are a total of 0 reporters there. There's not one. The corrupt corporate media doesn't intend to tell the citizens of Washington State or the citizens of Illinois or the citizens of Rhode Island or the citizens of Arizona. They don't intend to tell them your Democrat senator is why active duty military isn't being paid. And so every reporter, yesterday I had reporters running after me going, oh, isn't this Republican shutdown terrible? And I said, those are great talking points. Have you written a single story about the fact that the reason our military is not going to be paid is because Democrat leadership is objecting? No, because none of them have written that story. Every one of you know what the right thing to do is. And so my hope is there's a tiny, still voice inside of some Democrat senators that will stand up and go to your leadership and say, we can fight all day long on partisan issues, but we're not going to take our troops hostage.
He should be embarrassed.
That's the right thing to do. And every member of this body knows it. I yield the floor.
Now I feel better.